Reactive training systems.
Yeah, I think for me, I think the actual competition, it was interesting. It didn't go as on the women's side, it didn't fall like we thought it was going to fall. Like it didn't, like obviously the first place prediction was right, but the rest of it was completely not really what was predicted. And it was kind of surreal to see that, to be honest. Like, on the women's side, I think only 2 went over the world record, which was crazy. Like you expected to see 1 in front of like most people. Do you know what I mean? So that was
Sure.
kind of a strange experience, that it didn't kind of go the way that you have these expectations of who's going to hit the world record and who's going and it didn't fall that way at all.
Yeah.
I found
there were lots of missed lifts.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me because like the athletes that are competing at Sheffield are quite consistent athletes. So you actually think that you're able to better predict their performance. But then again, the whole strategy is going to be different. They're actually pushing themselves a lot and the attempts are going to be different. Or why, do you have any idea like why that could be, that in the end the outcome was so different?
Well, it's hard to say. Like, we can blame out or, have these theories, but at the end of the day, it's sports. So, like it's sometimes people just don't do as well as what you thought they were going to do, or sometimes mislifts happen, or, it's just sports. So we can have theories, but at the end of the day, there was just 10 women who didn't hit the world record, and I think it's the pressure of the competition. It's, you've got a lot of travel and, different programming strategies. Like it's all just those things, and being able to reflect on it, as a coach and as an athlete is super important, because that's how we get better. I was more worried about the crowd.
Striving, right? Like you're reaching for as much as you can total, and of course you do that all the time, but in a format like this, it does kind of push. It's not that I don't even know if that's the right framing to say that it pushes you to try bigger lifts. I mean, it does in a way, just because it's so competitive. Like you do have to try, you have to try extra hard. It's not like you can play it those 2.5 kilos conservative. And most of the time that's all it is. It's just a little bit on your third attempt. If you would have, made a call a little bit differently, then, it can go. But, if you're just reaching a little bit too far, it doesn't take, but, the smallest amount. And if it's too much, it's just too much.
I think it's just, you have to weigh up the options there, like,
sure.
If I'm going to be reflective on my attempt selections, I went aggressive on deadlifts. And, like looking back, 220 had to always be the last call, but I could have got there a little bit different. And I'll learn that for next year. But, I had to hit 220 to hit the world record. So, like that's just where we were at with it.
Well, I was going to ask you as well, like just kind of looking, first of all, Meg posted a phenomenal total about a month out from Sheffield. And you guys came within that's 7.5 kilos of that. So you weren't far off from that at Sheffield either, even with the travel and everything else. And just like looking at the attempt selection on paper, it looks like you were kind of setting up to exceed what she did in that main competition by a measure as well.
Yeah, we expected there was going to be a lot more there on the bench, like there was in the main competition. I'll let her speak about factors of why she thinks that occurred. We've reflected on it. But I stuck with my game plan with that. And I'm actually glad I did, because it, I opened on bench heavy with the expectation that we'd be chipping the world record. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to take smaller jumps for this particular competition. And I'm glad that I did. And then on deads, I'd stuck to the game plan. Looking back on it, I probably should have taken a lighter second attempt, but I don't know if that would have changed the outcome of the competition, if that makes sense. It's kind of how I'm thinking about it at the moment. But yeah, we were setting up for a little bit more than that, and we'd had discussions on if that's the goal, and it was the goal. So,
I mean, there's risks in both directions, right? So if you had been a bit more conservative, say on your second attempt deadlift, well, then your total after second deads is a bit lower. And then if that didn't necessarily fix the problem, and 220 still isn't there on the third, now you still miss the third deadlift just with a lower second attempt.
And then we were just getting beaten in the 63 battle. So yeah.
So I mean, like I said, I mean, risks in both directions, and I'm sure that's something that you guys wrestle with. But
the thing is also each attempt matters at Sheffield. It's not only the third attempt. So I think that's also different than compared to Worlds.
Yes, exactly. I just wanted to get as close to emptying out everything on the platform that we had. And, some things didn't go our way. And that's just the way it goes, right?
Yeah. Looking at it, again, just kind of looking at the scoreboard here, you guys, I mean, I don't see where there would have been a lot of wiggle room. There's no like obvious stuff that's like, oh yeah, you just should have done it this other way, right? Like, I think all the decisions that you've made are very reasonable, very defensible.
Yeah.
And of course you look at it and you find ways to improve for next time.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know, that's coach mode, right?
It is
like
coach mode.
Sit back and reflect on it and try to find out ways that you could do it better.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, on paper you can see that, there was no weight cut for Maine, and there was a small weight cut for Sheffield. Could I blame that? Maybe, but I can't. For that Sheffield competition, I don't want to be like, I'm going to go conservative on this because she's cut 1.5 kilos. Like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Well, I mean, like you said, it's sports to a degree, right? You're talking about the difference between 2.5 kilos on one particular lift here or there.
Yeah, it's nothing.
That's a small margin of error for just picking a number.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
If I opened on 220 and we bombed, that's probably not the greatest call.
Yeah.
So,
no, I was gonna say it could be an idea to get to take the smallest amount of jumps without gassing your athlete out, while still gaining confidence from one attempt to the other.
Yep, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I think there'll just be a bit of a revenge arc coming for bench for her. That's for sure.
I'd love to see that.
Hey, let me tell you something that I know about you. Your lifting is important to you. It's probably one of your biggest priorities. And for people like us, nothing compares to the feeling that you get when you set a new PR. That feeling of being the best that you've ever been, of doing something that you've never done before. This is what we're all after, and it's also what RTS specializes in. Getting you the absolute best program possible so that you can hit new PRs and reach your goals. We call it radically individualized training, and we're really good at it. Whether we need to account for busy schedules or equipment limitations, or precisely turn the dials and get the details of the program just right, we have the tools and the experience to guide your lifting to the next level. To us, coaching is all about leadership, relationship, and creative problem solving. A coach should be poised, to help you make tough decisions about training and competing so that you can continually grow in your development. And of course, a coach should be a first-rate problem solver, especially when it comes to your training, technique, and strategy. Now, all this has to be built off of a really strong, professional coaching relationship that emphasizes trust and respect. Additionally, RTS coaches are not on an island. We have a strong network of professionals to reach out to, so if you find yourself in need of some specific expertise, say in the realm of nutrition or injury management or sports psychology, there's a deep expertise available there too. For more information, go to store.reactivetrainingsystems.com and click on coaching. That's store.reactivetrainingsystems.com, then click on coaching. Hope to see you on the team soon.